Welcome to Instant Discussions, episode 6 probably, and we are going to be discussing the film Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yes, yeah.
Which is from the year last year.
Last year, from the year last year.
2012.
From the year
which is great seeing. I love when there are this new of movies on
Netflix.
Yeah,
those
are, yes, that's great to see. The film is rated
R. Oh God!
It's because
we don't need to make it.
So this was your pick.
This was my pick.
Now, this is the interesting thing. This is the first film that we've picked
that the person
who picked it has
didn't
not
see.
seen.
Yeah. Oh, is
It's
it?
a bold choice there.
Very bold, but I think that I made the right one.
Yes.
Because
now I had seen
Plaza's
this before.
in it.
Yes.
Oh, you just think she's hot?
She's gorgeous. That whole movie made me love her even more.
Now, have you seen what is the one? Funny People? What is it? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
I liked her in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I think she was one of the better parts of that movie as well.
Yeah. I love her.
She's like her roles in Parks and Rec. She's a very subdued character. Although on that show, even she's come out even more now.
Yeah,
you get to see more of her abilities. But I think she's able to play that kind of character really well. But in this one, she's a little more outgoing than she is in one of the others.
And then she always pulls off sarcasm.
Yes,
that's what I think is hot. I don't know why. It's really weird, but I like it. But so I loved her in this.
No, yeah, I loved all the actors and actresses. I loved the main four. Like they all did a really good job.
I was really surprised that Jeff Garlin was in it.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa, this is like a major star. Like,
yeah. He does a lot of work, but he's a pretty big star to see in this film.
For $750,000.
Yeah,
I was surprised to see him.
Yeah, anytime there's anyone of name in a film when there's $750,000, where you're like, okay, so many of these stars, it's their budget that will, like, the name power definitely builds up.
The irony is, I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay,
Jeff Garlin?
So Jeff Garlin,
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I don't watch regular TV.
He is a voice in.
I watched the one Seinfeld episode.
He's a voice in every Pixar film.
Mm-hmm. Still doesn't put a face to it.
It does not at all. He was the father
Let's say the bride.
Of Darius?
Yes.
We're talking about the movie? Oh, yeah.
Yes, Darius' father. In this,
so
he knows from the age of Saw.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
God, you only see him like so briefly.
You only see him briefly. It is a.
And when I saw him, I did kind of go, wait, do I know that face? And then I was like, I don't know.
It's one of those things. In seeing someone in a low budget film in these kind of roles, it seems like it's got to be a friend of someone else who's making this, one of the filmmakers.
Or he was really impressed.
Yeah,
with the
he
script.
could have been impressed with the
the casting and everything.
Yeah. But it was nice seeing him, and then also Marilyn Ricekub from 24. She was Bowie on 24. She's also a comedian. She was the boss.
Oh, her. Okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. So we see a little more of her, but still.
And Kristen Bell.
Uh,
Oh my lord, gorgeous! And I was surprised she was in there too. Beautiful. You don't know?
I know the name. It's just one of those.
The girl at the end.
Recognize so much.
Okay,
There's a good video on.
There's a girl on
YouTube
the
that
end
you
on a
can
boat.
watch. Yeah.
On a boat.
There's a good YouTube video of a trailer for a movie called Christian Bale, starring Christian Bale and Christian Bale.
Is this like
Christian Bale and Kristen Bell?
Is this like a Bob Dole thing? Like...
Kind of. Well,
Bob Dole.
Kristen Bell and Christian Bale.
Oh, okay.
Christian Bale.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's her biggest claim to fame for me, is that her name sounds like another name.
Like Christian Bale's. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, directed by Colin Trevorrow. I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet so too. I don't know if he's done it, what else he's done, but
I don't know either.
Good job. Yeah.
I'll find out soon.
Yeah.
I thought the directing really showed in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right away, we start off with the introduction to Darius.
Yeah. Great intro, I thought.
Yeah,
It was just instantly you know who she is.
instantly, and then you find out that she's doing a job interview, and I started cracking up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
funny.
who she is. Oh wow, this is kind of deep. Oh, she's having an interview. Okay, that's weird. This girl's very weird.
The movie actually didn't make me laugh like out loud, but I was just like, okay, yeah, this is amusing.
Okay, yeah. I LOL'd a few times.
Yeah, I don't know if I did, but it was, I like it as one of those subtle comedies. It's that in between a drama and a comedy kind of thing.
There were 2 moments that made me laugh out loud. I can't remember the first one, but the second one was just this.
Oh yeah,
I was just busting. I was busting so hard. That was so funny. I don't know why.
And that was reminiscent to me. These are, the 2 main stars of
So
these
good.
movies are also TV stars. That's their main thing that they do. But Jake Johnson from New Girl.
my cousin.
Your cousin?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't know that. That's an interesting fact. That was kind of reminiscent of his character in New Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It had that kind of feel to it, and that's with new actors.
Did he do
playing
New Girl
something.
first?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Unless they shot this film way in advance, but
Because I was actually
he is
was
a first time
particularly impressed with him, but I guess maybe not anymore. I don't know.
It's
I don't know.
well, a lot of these things with actors that you haven't seen a lot of work from, you don't really know what is them and what is the character they're bringing on. And still, most actors will have some go-to things that they bring in there. No matter how many different roles Johnny Depp will do, there's these moments you can.
He's
find
always
where
Johnny
him.
Depp.
Like
Yeah.
Zoe Deschanel in
But
the same.
Keanu Reeves,
show.
Nicolas Cage.
Well, yeah, those are definitely them. I think Johnny Depp has a little more range in there, but then you get to, the 2 that definitely go out there would be Philip Seymour Hoffman and other 3-name actor.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, yes.
Yeah.
So those ones
My
are
idol.
ones that
If you're watching this, Daniel, I love you.
I love it.
we all love. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
He knows that.
Yeah.
He knows it.
Oh my God.
Those are 2 that definitely they're more chameleons. They fade in each role, but even with them, you still have a bit of themselves that they bring in.
Yeah, I think
to the role.
mostly with Daniel Day-Lewis, though, he's got such striking features.
Yeah, he does. But it's their personality. Because the actors will take from themselves, take from their.
Oh,
own
shut up!
experiences.
I can just.
I'm just saying, it got a little gay for a second. You're talking about his strong facial features.
But Daniel Day-Lewis becomes the other characters. He could become a woman for him. I can believe that.
Ooh,
He could work. So then it wouldn't be gay.
that's true.
I mean, he'd still have the striking features. So back to this film.
Okay.
Yeah, a little off topic here.
So yeah, these actors they are well fit for this movie.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't really matter that their characters seem like characters they've done before, because it fits for this. So
Okay, so she's doing the interview. I thought something that really showed how socially awkward and just how she didn't understand how things worked was when he asks her during the interview a question and she's like, "'Cause I want money." Like right away, I was like, she just does not understand people.
she's not playing their games
Yeah.
for the interview and not giving them the answers that they want.
Yeah.
She's just being honest about
Yeah.
that. You know.
I thought that was funny too.
No company ever values honesty. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I hate it.
So then we
That's
see
a good
her
thing to say on the internet.
internship. We find out she has an internship. We go to the internship, and she's just treated horribly.
Yeah,
Like they treat her like shit.
like an intern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been an intern, so I don't know. But is that how it is? I don't know.
They're essentially slaves, but
Yeah.
they don't get paid.
It's-
and
The way to make slavery work in America.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they can leave. That's the difference. I
The
guess.
difference is that they can leave, but
Yeah, but other than that, it's willing enslavement.
yeah.
So then they're at the table for this magazine. She's an intern for a magazine, and they're looking for ideas. And Jeff brings up the idea of the ad, which I have here. I don't know if you have
Yes.
it. Okay.
Well, I have the original ad.
Oh, you really? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, like the IRL.
Yes. Although no, this is the ad from the movie, but it was based off of an actual ad, which was up here. Okay, there it is. It was from 1997 in Backwoods Home magazine, and that one was written as a joke by one of their employees.
Okay.
Okay, so this ad, which they say this has got to be a joke ad because come on, it's either a joke ad and the guy's gonna be funny, or it's a real ad and this is a really interesting story to look into. But yeah, if you wanted to read that.
You have a great voice.
Okay. Wanted. Somebody to go back in time with me. This is no joke. P.O. Box 91, Ocean Avenue, Washington, 99393. Interesting address too. You'll get paid. You'll get paid after we get back. Must bring your own weapons. Safety not guaranteed. I have only done this once before. So, yes. So safety not guaranteed, where we get the help from the movie. That's the quirky part of that ad, because it's one of the things that is reinforcing his final statement of "I've done this only once before," to say that yes, I've traveled back in time before, and I need to do this again. Wants a companion. So
Jeff sees this ad. We get introduced to Jeff.
Yeah.
And he says he wants to, check. It could be a story there. So this is when we just see Jeff being a douche. He's like, I want the lesbian and...
Well, this is the only moment that...
No, I'm saying this is, this is the beginning.
The introduction of his douchiness.
Yeah, of his douchiness. So he's just, the way he talks about the other employees.
That's kind of how interns are treated too.
I wondered why she volunteered.
Well, I mean, right away I'm thinking because she just has a shitty life. It seems like her whole life has just been shit. And this is a chance to just do something different.
And she wants to get involved in this as well.
I guess she's just career driven, maybe.
Yeah. So as long as if she's doing this, then I can bring her out being an intern. But I think also we learn later why she might be interested in reaching out to people.
Well, I guess I missed that part.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't connect the bridges.
Yeah. It's so I mean we don't know that at this point, but that could be why she's reaching out for people. And another thing is, I mean, I think about this as, so he's done this once before. It's interesting, there's an ad that he's looking for someone to go with him in time traveling.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, why do you need someone going with you? Is it an issue of you need two people to run this machine? Like, why don't you have anyone else to do this?
I didn't even think of that.
So, it could be that he wanted the safety in numbers, or even though he's convinced that he's going back for his reason, for the person he's going back for, is somewhere deep in his mind he is looking for a new friend, looking for a new connection to make, and that's why he's looking for someone else.
But you know what? Later on,
might also be sanity.
During the heist, he says that was one of the reasons he needed a two-man team.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. He was looking more for.
Yeah, I think there's something in him that knows that he wants that companionship.
Yeah, because when we meet him later on, it's just he has no connection to anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody really seems to like him or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, if I were to time travel, I'd probably want to go with someone instead of not.
Yeah, but since he's kind of
depends on your mission.
Since we know that the story that he tells initially, that he understands. He knows it is about what actually happened, but
the girl's alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his reasoning for going back in time that we learn when we meet him eventually once Darius can get to know him better. He's going back to save the love of his life who died in this car accident.
Car ran into their living room.
Yeah. Car ran into the living room. Yeah. So he wants to save her from that. We later find out that he had driven that car in the living room, and she was fine. So because he drove that car, because he made up that it was someone else, we know that even though he may have blocked it out of his memory, he may have created this false reality.
That's what I was thinking.
That's probably because he did seem sincere.
He just didn't react at all to the fact that her mom died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
from the same exact thing.
Yeah. So because he reacts in the way he does, he seems sincere in what he believes. So he seems to have made that. But there's somewhere in his subconscious where he does remember what actually happened.
Yeah.
And so that's the part where I think why he's looking for someone else. Because that's helping him to move on, to outreach someone else. So I think that could be it, somewhere in the subconscious to help him. So he has his reason for going back. Darius gives her reason for going back, which she tells her coworkers is a fake reason, but is actually a real reason in trying to save her mom.
Yeah.
So they're both going back to try to save someone else.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a conflicted thing because the guy says, it doesn't want to, you can't change things in the past because they can affect things in the future.
Even the most minor things, but saving somebody's life is so huge.
Yeah. So they're still, their plans are to go back and change something. So they both have their reasons for it, and even if Darius might not believe that it works, she uses that to connect with him. But in some way, it's using their combined loss, they're bonding over that. And even if they can't go back to save them, they can grow for something else. But maybe there is a chance they can go back. So it's kind of that little bit of hope there, except she knows that it's impossible. There's no way that he actually can do that.
Yeah.
But still holding that little bit of hope of impossibility.
Well, I always thought that time travel had a huge representation symbol in this film of something greater, so to speak, than time travel, which is just letting go of your past mistakes.
Yeah.
And so and that's why I thought that when they finally got to each other and at the end got together, essentially, that they were able to forget all of it. They're able to forget that her mom had died. He was able to forget that about this whole ex-girlfriend thing. And that's why I think that's why they're able to time travel, and that's why that needed to happen at the end of the film, was because they had forgotten, and it just represented that, yes, now that's all, doesn't matter. They're happy.
So they're carrying the baggage of these incidents that happen to them, these tough moments in their life,
past events
that affects who they are, and are things that are weighing them down. And by metaphorically going back in time, by addressing those issues, and addressing those things that happened, and finding closure in them, and completing that allows them to move on with the rest of their life.
Not actually go well.
In metaphoric going back, yes. In metaphoric going back and addressing them, the idea of thinking about those things that happen, when especially for our lead character,
Darius.
The other one, Kenneth. When especially for Kenneth, because he's created this false reality of it. Yeah. Because Darius, at least to him, when she talks to him, she tells him that actually happened. When she tells others, she doesn't really open up to most people to tell them about her mother. But for him, since he's concocted this fake reality and he's presented with the truth, at first he doesn't grab onto it, but in time and through his connection with Darius, and realizing that there's other life out there that he can move on with, he's gone back to that point in their discussion of it. And so in his mind, he's able to go back to that and fix that, and that's what is able to move him forward. So they've moved on, and both characters were able to complete themselves just by discussing the past with each other, without needing to go back. So we've jumped a lot ahead in the movie of it. Just to kind of going on the stream of those points. Let's go back if there's some stuff you were.
Well, no, I just another thing that I thought brought out who Jeff was that he takes the interns. They sit down, start to talk about their trip, and he's like, "Oh, Bridget over there, I fucked her." Just like out of nowhere. It's
that was good.
That's just like
I thought that was a funny moment.
Yeah, and it's just adding to his like douchiness and what we learn about him later on.
And then there was a good comeback from Darius too.
Which was
like, oh, was she really bossy?
Oh yeah.
She ordered you around. He's like, yeah.
So then we learn a little bit more about Darius through her father. Just he's really excited that she's going to be going out. Opening up socially.
Yeah.
Potentially not being a virgin anymore.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. She's like, how do you know I'm not just on Craigslist with random guys?
I talked to your friend on Facebook. What?
Oh, yeah. And then,
How could I eject? Oh, man. Anyway.
So then they take their drive. And I learn, I like and confused by the Indian, I forgot his name, the Indian character.
Oh, Karen, the actor's Karen. Arno?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's a little
It's an
socially
interesting.
off.
He's an interesting like character to put in the film.
Yeah.
I think really interesting character.
It was a good. I thought it was a good choice. It's something. It's like an Indian nerdy kid, but he's kind of obviously gay. But then I guess obviously not. I don't know.
He's not. Yeah, I don't think he's gay. He's just.
But
I think
the
he
first
holds
thing you
it.
thought of though.
No, I
Really?
thought that he just held it at a more sacred level and didn't want to just let things happen when in the sexual realm because
No. Before that though, just on the drive down, the way he acted.
Oh no, I just thought he was a nerdy gamer.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, he even said she's all like, "Why are there flames?" And it goes really fast and like,
It's a game.
and he's playing games. Like, I
Uh-huh.
was just like, okay, yeah,
I
he's
got
just,
a game
he's just
I
a
love
gamer
to
that
play.
just spends all his time playing like LOL and WoW and
Mm-hmm.
Diablo and StarCraft.
I liked his character though.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was interesting because like all the other three main characters really fit well into whole like the past mistakes theme.
Uh-huh.
Like because Jake even had the whole girl thing,
Yeah.
and then I didn't really see that in him.
No, he was the total opposite.
But I felt that like his character was kind of needed for Jake's story.
Yeah, yeah. He has a Jake's story, but he doesn't really have the past experience as much. He's one that's going to be making.
Yeah, he's new experiences.
Yeah.
And Jake's trying to guide him in the way that Jake does.
Yeah, so he's
Jeff. I'm calling him by their real names.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, he's the catalyst that Jeff needs in the same way that Darius and Kenneth are playing off of each other.
Okay,
Good,
so,
really good character relationships. I thought that was excellent.
So they go to the P.O. box.
Yes.
Where
Stakeout.
they stake out. They find the guy. They go to his house, and then Jeff goes.
Well, Darius goes and he's
No. First Jeff
First
goes. First Jeff goes and tries to get him.
I was just saying following, but Jeff goes.
Well,
Which I thought was a funny scene because he is so like not sincere at all, and he's such a douche. And I like that Kenneth just like picked that up really quick, and he said, he has such a fake smile and things like that, and rejected him. And then I like how Jeff then tells Darius how weird she is, and their weirdness will mesh.
Yeah. But when in Jeff's interaction with him in the first one, you can tell that he's been approached by other people for this. He's and also that how serious he is in this. That he's not just writing this as a joke, or he wrote this as a joke and is just committing to it. To try to look crazier in the papers, but then he would go back and just be a normal person. But no, that is not the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then Darius goes to try to make a connection, try to get him.
Yeah, so she goes to his work. And then we start to learn about Kenneth.
Yeah.
He talks about quantum physics.
Split.
And he's talking about arguing which is super dorky, and I see that all the time, arguing online about like metaphysics and stuff like that.
I'm a science nerd.
Yeah.
I haven't done it, but I'm a science nerd.
And then I love the interaction that Darius and Kenneth have when they're doing the soup.
Oh, with the tomato soup? Yeah.
Oh my god, that was such a good scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
And she was like, and you can tell for like the first time she's really just having fun. Like in her life, she's just enjoying this new experience she's having. And the way she did it was like serious for him, but not for her.
Yeah, she's playing with him.
Yeah.
But she's trying to get to him on a personal level and trying to be like she knows that she's trying to be serious in the ad to respond to him, to get him to respond to her, and not just approaching him in the way that Jeff was, and just
And most people probably.
Yeah. They're
How she could only imagine Jeff did it.
yeah. They have to you have to take them on as a serious person, and so even though she's playing, she's now acting within this role.
She's like, "You guys sell guns here?" And he knew, like, actually in the state of Washington, it is illegal. I thought that was great. How about one of those long thingies with the ball at the end with the spikes? I thought that was good.
That was a good moment.
And then I thought it was smooth too. I'm gonna try that with the phone number on the tomato soup.
Yep.
Yeah. How you doing, ladies? Unless they're motor
And
skills.
then,
are
yeah, I was going to say, unless
Yeah.
they don't have good motor skills, and then you go,
Yeah.
fuck, and then you run, and you're like, my phone number's on the can, I can't run.
Okay, so then they go back to the hotel at that point, and then we learn a little bit more about Jeff. He's there to stalk his high school girlfriend on Facebook.
That's the real reason.
That's how he starts off,
Yeah.
and he wants to, he had this great connection in high school, and he's kind of upset that he, left that.
Yeah. He's on his own journey of
Yeah.
discovery here.
And you kind of find out that's what he's really there for. He's
Yeah.
not really there for the story.
Yeah, he's created the story
Vacation.
as this is his mechanism that gets him out there, to get him away, and it could even be that he was looking for a story in that area when he found this ad. And I was fortunate enough to he found an ad that was in the right area that he wanted to.
Didn't really matter what it was about, because he
Yeah.
was fucking the...
It's kind of like the reporter that's like, oh, look, there's this crazy thing happening over in Fiji right now. I better go investigate that. I guess I'll organize a team, and we'll have to be put up in this hotel in Fiji so I can go research this political discourse happening there and such, and so that's he finds the story that happens to be taking place in the right part of Seattle that he wants to go to, and or Ocean View, Washington, he wants to go to, and then he goes about on his way, where the interns they still think that they're there for the story, and they're pursuing that when he's couldn't. Not that at all. In his mind, even just the going up to the door and not getting anywhere with it, that's all he really needed.
Yeah, he's like, I did my job.
Yeah, Darius doing her stuff, he'll let her do it, but he doesn't believe that, she'll actually succeed in anything, and he doesn't really care about that because he's got his own goals.
So, then we have the first time it kind of really gets, you can see how serious he is, Kenneth.
Yeah.
So they're going to meet in a safe place. They're all in the car, and they don't want to get caught together. So she tells them, "Run! There's somebody following us." And Kenneth jumps out and pulls out a shotgun.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm like, oh wow, this guy's really serious.
And for a moment, I didn't actually check hard enough. I thought that maybe that was her dad or something, but then I'm like, I don't think it was.
I think it was just random people.
Yeah, it was just random people.
In that instance. But that was a way because Jeff was there. Yeah. And she didn't want him to see, if Kenneth saw Jeff, that ruins the whole thing. So that was her, it wasn't just to make him convinced that there were, people after her to kind of prove that she's serious. Mm-hmm. It was more to divert him away from seeing Jeff. But it played into that. It was able to. She
did it very smooth of her character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit! There's something.
Yeah. So that did increase her believability.
And then there's that weird scene where it was. I don't know. I thought it was kind of out of place in the movie. He gets back in his car and he looks at his ear, and his ear's coming off.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, there's something really odd that's going to happen, or there's something really deep. And I was kind of upset that they didn't, I guess.
I must have missed the moment.
He looks in the mirror and he fixes his ear because it's coming off.
Yeah.
I missed it.
So we learned.
I totally missed it.
Yeah, we learned in the scene. He said he tells her that
later on.
Yeah, later on of what happened. Like Not, he doesn't tell what happened to his ear.
No.
But,
The first time I saw anything with the ear was in the restaurant
yeah.
when she saw it.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think, yeah, the other one's really subtle, so you don't really notice it as much.
It's right after the shotgun scene. He gets back in and he fixes his ear.
I remember he looked in the mirror. I remember, but I thought he was looking to see if there was anyone else back there, and that's what I was looking for, and that's where my attention was.
Okay, gotcha.
Because he's so paranoid, I thought that's what it was, and so that's what I looked.
So what
And
do you
then,
think
so I
happened?
didn't notice the ear at all.
What do you think happened to his ear?
I forget. He said something. I don't
didn't
really
he-
remember, but I don't think it really mattered.
Yeah, something when he was a child and his parents couldn't afford the prosthetics, so the kids made fun of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that was like the more important thing was just that, yeah, this is like, he's damaged from his childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
I don't know. I had a thought right now of just wondering if there's a connection to kind of a Van Gogh story.
Was there a Van Gogh reference?
Yeah, well, it's just that because he's got this unobtainable love that he's trying to reach for. There seems to be something in there with the ear.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There could be something with that. But
I like to think it's
I can see that.
Tina Fey type thing. It's just some random dude went up when he was a kid and just.
yeah, it could be any number of things. But it's this part about him he doesn't want to talk about, and it's interesting because in a lot of films when there is someone saying that setup of the thing of, oh, this is a problem with me, I don't want to talk about it. Usually by the end of the film,
that's what I'm saying,
someone
yeah.
talks about it. But this one, no,
Yeah,
just
that
not
was it.
talked about, and it's a pretty big
Yeah.
thing. But that could be just us thinking about it as a big thing when it's just a part of this person who is. In anyone that says something that's different about them, they don't want to talk about. But yeah, they don't need to. He doesn't need to talk about it. He just happens to have.
Just get back to all the things in my youth. Oh God.
Yeah.
So then, let's see. So Jeff then goes and visits Liz, and he discovers that obviously she's older and has changed. So he's gonna go talk to her, and he doesn't because he says that she's fatter and uglier.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
So he's still very superficial.
Very superficial.
He's his douchey self.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just trying to get with this hot girl he remembered, and she's not as hot as he remembers.
And even the reasoning behind when he talks to the Indian guy about it,
Yeah.
is just douchey. Like she gave the best blowjobs, and
Yeah.
like, it was just 100% douche sexual.
Yeah.
Don't
Does-
undervalue those.
We didn't say douche was a bad thing. There might be douches watching this. You don't know.
President douchebag.
Yes.
So
now,
then
my opponent gave
they set up a meeting, and the meeting is at the local football game,
Yeah.
high school football game,
Yeah.
which I thought was, I don't know, I while I was watching it, and I felt that Kenneth was just more serious and it wasn't bullshit, I liked every scene then because it's something that I would do if I was traveling in time and thought the government was after me.
Yeah.
So then, he sits down, he's looking around, he wants the noise and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. A
And-
public place it can be safety because there's lots of people around, so that if the government does snatch them, there's witnesses.
Yeah.
However, there's other people around, so any one of them can be someone out there to get them.
Yeah.
So it's
But the thing is like he's choosing where he sits,
yeah.
There's no way that So there's that safety too.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
So then, I forgot the Indian guy's name. What is it?
Arno. It's Arnau. However you want to pronounce it.
Now, okay. So this is when Jeff is talking to him at the football game about the high school girl trying to fuck him.
Yeah.
That's another part when I was laughing
He's trying
because
to
he doesn't care. Like these obviously women right in front of him and to the left and right.
Yeah, and he's drunk.
Yeah. Oh, and they're drinking in public.
Yeah. Well, you get a high school
At a high school
football
game.
Yeah, that's a pretty low point for Jeff. Yeah, that
Yeah.
it's a low point. Not only just the drinking in the high school game, but the sad thing. It's that kind of Fast Times at Ridgemont High thing And yes, just still looking at the high school.
Reminds me of a certain someone I know in,
Well,
in Whittier who after they graduated from high school kept going back and hung
That's
out.
what I love about them high school
Tony.
girls.
Yeah. It's Tony.
Did you do it?
No,
Oh,
I didn't.
okay. I was thinking of someone else, but I was just like, oh crap! Like, wait, I didn't mean to talk about you, Tony.
But I think this is when we start to see Jeff trying to get Arnu to kind of get out there and hook him and stuff. But right at that point, I felt that Jeff kind of understood how shallow and douchey he was, and I felt he was trying to push who he was onto him as validation that it was okay who he was and how he did things in that, like that. Yeah. I think he kind of looked at him.
If he's got a second person that reflects, if he can get this young guy to reflect the same qualities that he has, then he can be okay with those traits in himself.
Yeah,
that's in that mirror. But if he looks around him and sees everyone else doesn't reflect those same qualities, then he has an issue. He doesn't want to have a problem. So that's why in this instance, what he says, he doesn't get that reflection
at all.
Yeah,
total opposite.
So that's a problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of this movie had to do with like that kind of individuality and not being scared to be yourself.
Yeah,
and live in the moment.
It's getting confirmation that you can be yourself.
Yeah,
and being able, it's for Kenneth, it's being able to participate in the world with other people, because he's fine with himself being himself, but when he doesn't see any connection with anyone else in the world, he's reclusive. He recoils and keeps to himself.
Alexander of Macedonia. Sorry. It's what I thought.
Yeah. So but if he does see those traits in someone else, then he's able to branch out, able to let out. So he's still looking for those things in someone else the same way that Jeff's looking at those qualities in someone else. It's
looking for
that connection. Yeah.
So then, so this is when Kenneth starts to explain his plan. Little bits and pieces to Darius, and then I guess after that is when they start basic training.
Yeah, and then I think from the get-go you instantly can tell like Darius likes this guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's After that, when she starts cracking smiles, because when you see her around everyone else, she no smiles at all, nothing, no smirks.
Yeah, because everyone else is the same type of person to her. They all fit in that same mold, and when you don't like that mold,
Kenneth is actually kind of entertaining. And
unique, he's different. He's different from the society that's around her that she doesn't.
Yeah, all the rest are those deaf mutes. Yeah. Catching the ride.
Just really against people with disabilities, aren't you?
Kill Lincoln.
It's already been done. Wait, not Daniel Day-Lewis. No!
Who really got into his head.
And then so right away you see once again how serious he is. What a great shot he is. I mean, he's running and doing all this stuff and hitting the bottles. Yeah, you could tell he does this a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, he's trained.
Yeah, seriously
trained. Yes,
and that's what makes it even funnier too.
Yeah, it's like this guy's totally serious.
So you get a nice classic training montage.
And some of it was some of it was silly though. He was doing like a log roll.
Yeah,
and shooting. But then Darius is just loving it. Like, you can tell she's totally digging it. Yeah. And they make a cute couple. And then I like his martial arts that he kind of made up.
I really enjoyed that they didn't really give a hint of reciprocal feeling.
Oh yeah, the whole way through.
Because he's still serious in his main consciousness.
Love of his life.
Yeah, he's looking for the love of his life, so he's not interested in anything.
And there's even that too. Yeah.
So even though in his subconscious he is finding this connection with her and building that relationship with her, and he's appreciating that. In his main consciousness, he's just making sure that he's going to be safe in this, and that it's his responsibility to make sure that the person he's going with is well trained, because they don't know what they're going to go up with in there. Even though safety isn't guaranteed, he can at least try to help her so that she's well prepared.
just real quick, one line that I just remembered that I loved is when he asked Darius at the very beginning if, have you ever laughed in the face of certain death? And she's all, well, if it's certain, I thought that was such a good line. Yeah, going back, but
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're done doing their martial arts training and they sit down for a little talk, and that is when you find out that she's made it further than anyone else, and that's when he asks, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And she gives like kind of the whatever answer, but
then it's about the mom dying, but it was a fake story about that. But then she gives the real one, right?
Well, I mean, she still died though, but she got into like how it made her feel and how she felt that it was her fault because she asked for the chocolate milk.
Yeah.
And even though her mom, I thought that was like, it kind of touched me when she started talking about that.
Yeah.
And then wasn't even, there was no gratitude even at that point when her mom went out of her way and then just dying. I mean, and then at that point you can tell why, just socially, she just is awkward.
I think I kind of, by the end of the film, I thought that with that moment and with that decision, I thought maybe that they could have made it like more of her fault somehow.
More of her fault?
Maybe would that have made it a better movie? I was thinking.
I don't think so because I think in it not actually being her fault, and that it's still her blaming herself for it.
Yeah, indirectly it's her fault.
Yeah, but it's the thing is she needs to understand that it's not. That those were circumstances beyond her control, and she needs to stop blaming herself for that. Yeah,
no, I can see that still, but I mean, I think that there could have been even a greater. I don't know. I'm saying there could have been a greater catharsis if she had actually been.
She was drunk driving and hit her mom or something.
I think there could have been.
Not like murdering her mom, but
I think that might disconnect the audience.
Yeah.
This
is more of an accident,
yeah,
and then you don't
because
not
that's
like
her as
much.
That's a very common thing for anyone to blame yourself for things that you're not responsible for, things beyond your control.
Yeah.
And so that's a very relatable moment, and that's the thing that's going to connect with more people. Now, if it's things that are your
audience
faults,
isn't really forgiving of mistakes, because it could have been something that she did, but just more directly tied. But it still was a mistake.
Not even in that, but even just the relating her as a character, because you need the center character to be someone for the audience to relate to see yourself in.
But still, I don't know. I wouldn't have ever believed at any moment that she would have wanted her mom to die.
No,
with her character. So I think they could have gone there, for at least for me.
They could have, but I don't think they needed to have her wanting her to die. But it's the thought of that she was thinking about herself over her mother, and in thinking about herself over her mother, that was the thing that caused her to die. And in her death, realizes that she shouldn't have been thinking about herself, so she's blaming herself in that way, even though it's not her fault for that. If it had been something that was her fault, then that makes it so that the people that can relate to that are people that have done things that are their fault, and that even though that's more of Jeff's role here, where he's caused the things in his life to fall apart. Or even Kenneth, who's kind of caused the relationship to end and caused the problems in his life.
Well, I mean, even Darius is doing the same thing.
Well, she's attributing it to herself.
Yeah.
But that's the thing where you now add a new group of people that you can identify with, which is the people who it's something that happened in their life and affected them greatly, but is something that was beyond their control. So the other characters are things that were in their control that they've done. In the way that they've acted caused their relationships to end directly. Mm-hmm. Hers was an indirect thing. It was this random occurrence that happened because of this, rather than driving into someone's house.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or driving people away. That's what I
yeah. I mean, to each their own. I just think I still think that it could have been.
Yeah. Could have, should have.
Yep.
So. Next scene is Jeff decides to go see Liz, and they have a very awkward conversation, I felt. And then we learn more about his douchiness she says, "What's going on in your life?" "Well, I got an Escalade." And
he's still superficial.
I got a nice condo. It's really nice.
Yeah. But it's so in this conversation that he's having with her, he's trying to reach outside of who he is and trying to be a different person a bit, just in the fact that he's
was it Arno that pushed him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He's like, you didn't even go see her? Like,
Yeah.
I remember something.
So just in the fact that he's agreed to do that, he's trying a little to stretch it out. However, he's separated from the conversation himself. He's
just trying to like impress her and show how much better he is.
Yeah, he's focused on himself.
Yeah.
And he's not really focused on learning things about her, and as she's talking about herself and telling things about herself, he's not really picking up on any of that yet.
Yeah. He's not really listening.
Yeah.
And you know what? I thought she was attractive. I don't know why he was all grossed
like,
out.
well,
oh, yeah, she's hot. Yeah,
well, I mean, pushing the superficialness of his character.
Yeah, I guess.
Because it's not the standard that he's used to. He's set on this standard.
He set on the girl he saw first when he entered the salon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I guess. See, right there.
That's what I was.
And you're wondering.
when you're just looking at that superficial level, that's the thing. He's not including anything else and not realizing that what more she has to offer.
And like she's just so sweet. She makes all these pies. She's like, "Which one do you want?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's awesome!"
Yeah.
And then she starts to give him the massage, and it's like, oh. And
so slowly he's learning these things. He's like because he likes the pies, likes the massage. So so that's kind of getting him into that point where you say, "All right, these things are cool, and maybe let's see where this goes." So that's able to let him break down. Now that he's actually having a personal conversation with someone, even though he's going in there not and isn't into it, he's now being brought into this. The warmth of her own home is bringing him in.
Yeah, and then at the end of that, she invites him to dinner, and he's like, "Yeah, cool, let's do it." So next is the video. They start making the video, and that right away it shows. Yeah. I'm sorry, yes, Kenneth and Darius. And it shows his dedication. Like, he's going back in time. He's going to make this video so he can let people know. And that's when we find out why he's going back in time. Yeah. About his beautiful girlfriend who was different than anybody. He's never met anyone like her. Nobody will ever be like her, blah, blah, blah. So he needs to save her life.
His infatuation.
Yeah.
Ideal.
And that's when we were talking about earlier. He talks about we're not going to abuse the power.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone anything.
Yeah.
Oh, then this is when they're at the diner.
Yeah.
Which kind of contradicts what they're doing.
Yeah.
Saving two people.
They're unlike in a film like Back to the Future where it's purely a scientific reason. For going back, just the reasons that Doc Brown had for going back, he wanted to experience these different moments, but he was adamant on things. You do not change anything.
Like Homer stomping on.
Yes, when Homer goes back stomping on the fish, and destroying everything. And so that's in the Homer one. It's the butterfly effect. It's the tiniest details. So even
raining again.
Yeah, even going back in time at all would just your presence there at all in that aspect could change everything. Yeah. However, they're looking at it. I can't remember exactly which films have discussed it in this way, but I do remember this being discussed in other time travel things where those little things of like stepping on a bug, they might affect a tiny thing in this small ecosystem, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to change. Barack Obama's still going to be the president in this year. Those big things are still going to be there because those are big moments, unless you did something more drastic.
In Looper.
So let's not ruin Looper, a new recent movie. But,
Post spoiler alert.
All I did was that.
I know it was that. I saw the movie and I'm not remembering exactly whatever. But yeah, the idea. If you enjoy time travel films,
it's good.
I'm waiting for October 2015. To dress up as Doc Brown.
Yes, the time they went back. So in that regard, they could say that in them going back and saving these people's lives, it's going to affect things in their local area. So it'll affect the lives of everyone connected to that person that they're saving, and it'll connect everyone connected to you. But then as it gets further out from their circles, it affects them less and less. And then it's not going to cause a nuclear holocaust in their present timeline. It's only going to affect the things in those circles. So in that way, you could say that, and they don't go into the explanation of all of this, but in that way they can say, okay, we're doing this for selfish needs. That's true. However, we're saving someone's life, so that's a positive thing. And we're also saving someone's life that's not going to cause these massive changes outside of that. So if they were going back and they were doing the thing of trying to get themselves rich, that could be taking the money away from someone else that then affects their lives negatively. And by having all of that wealth, that can drastically change the scope of the world because you have more wealth. But in this way, they're just saying, all we want to do is get this person back that doesn't take away from anyone else. So, yeah, I can justify it in my time travel logic. I'm a very big fan of time travel movies and thinking about everything and the way that it happens.
Well, that's the thing,
I think this one was a very good. It works in that sense.
But I mean, I'm thinking the whole time about time travel, and right away I'm thinking, but if you go back in time to save somebody that they were saved, then they have no reason to go back in time in the first place.
That's the theory of if it's on the same string. But when
he's in the store, he talks about how it diverges.
And that's the Back to the Future way. And there's a good feature on the the newest DVDs and Blu-rays of Back to the Future, where physicist Michio Kaku talks about time travel in film and is expressing that the Back to the Future is just that Back to the Future is one of the better examples of time travel because they do explain it in the way the parallel universes, and that's the philosophy that I ascribe to. That I think is a more possible way of how it could go. Because it doesn't have that paradox in there. But there is that paradox where if he goes back and makes it so that there's no inciting incident for him to go back in the first place, that's the paradox loop where now he doesn't go back, but if he didn't go back and save her, then he would go back as a paradox. But if you create that divergent timeline, then he saved her in this timeline. In the timeline they're in, she's always dead. That it does not get changed.
Just like Zelda.
Yeah. Just like Zelda. So
Hero's successful on this one. Hero's
parallel universes, and there could be rich crossover between the two. So that's the thing. It could still work.
Yeah.
There's been enough. There's been enough theories in time travel to allow that to work.
Okay. So at the end of their conversation, he runs out because his ear falls off or is falling off.
Yeah.
And I think this is interesting where he's like, it's over, get up. He runs and he's about to take off, but he stays there. And I think he stays there because he really does like Darius, whether it's in a romantic way or just a connection.
He just needed to run in the corner and hide for a bit. And this is a physical representation of the emotional things that are going on here, where he's finally opened up and is revealing himself and showing things that are painful in his life. And now there's the physical representation of that. We're showing, this is something that I'm hiding and keeping to myself. This is a very personal thing. But he now feels too exposed because she's seen that. So instead of realizing that, instead of running away from her knowing more about him from his past, now it's something physical. So he has a more of a overt reason to run away.
And then so he's freaking out, but then she tells him about her hair.
Yeah.
Hairy arms, she had a mustache. So she's just adding to the rapport that she already has with him on this weird level.
Yeah.
They're both weirdos.
Connecting on their weirdness.
Yeah.
And like Jeff had said before, but that's he was saying it and more just like you guys are or whatever. But that is a big thing for someone who feels outcast.
Oh no, yeah.
To connect with someone else on their other level of what makes them outcast.
Yeah, I'm sure for them it was. For her, this whole experience is magical.
Yeah, it's like great bonding. And I like
that she's
that
never
Bond
had.
more than a superficial Bond thing that Jeff's going after.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand looking at someone's personality and something that's making them unique.
Yeah.
And then I like how she adds at the end of that scene where she's like, I think it's cool. His ear.
Yeah.
And he's just like, but you could tell she really does think it's cool.
She
It's
does.
make him an individual.
She does think it's cool, but it's a tough thing if you're going for something that he's that against talking about. He's not ready for that, and I was a little. It was surprising to me, how easily he kind of let that go and let her back in. But that's a good thing. It shows that he was growing. But that seems like when she's then being so adamant on saying it's cool and being into it, that could be a sign where he could think that she's not serious about thinking it's cool and is just kind of mocking him and just trying to use that as a way to get close to him for this story, or for.
Well, he doesn't know that yet, though.
Well,
So I think he saw the sincerity
take advantage
in her
of
face. So.
if she's a spy or something.
Yeah.
So he could have easily not seen the sincerity in that. So it was a little surprising to me, but that's a character development. He's now able to allow that in.
So next thing, they're talking to the hotel, and I really like that she tells her group a lie about the reason why she says she wants to.
Because she's not open up to that.
Yeah, exactly.
She's only opened up to.
And I kind of feel like that's like maybe he's the only person she's ever really talked to about her mother. And then I don't know if this is when she starts sticking up for him too.
Yeah.
They're like this weirdo and blah blah blah, and she's like, "Look, guys, he's a nice guy, normal, blah blah blah."
It's not that weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
not
now
that
it's
weird.
What makes it weird?
now it's more than a story for her. It's looking at the story now she's invested in it. Before, everything she was doing to get closer to him was she was still like, I'm going to be a great reporter. I'm going to get this, going to break the story. But she's as she's grown more attached to him, she's defending him.
Sees a lot of herself in
Oh yeah, which she probably hasn't seen in other people.
Yeah.
So now we got the heist, the exciting heist.
Yes.
They go to the laser company or whatever.
It doesn't even. I don't think it showed it. Exactly what it was.
So he tells her she wants to steal some lasers, and he needs the getaway girl to meet at the rendezvous point. And I love he's serious, but he's like an idiot. Like he's doing all these shoulder rolls and stuff. It's so unneeded. He takes off his mask, looks up at the camera.
Well, it's because he doesn't have the real life experience.
Yeah.
You see these things in movies and TV, and he's lived in his head. And so in putting these things in action, he's replicating what he's seen. And
But like right at the beginning of it, though, I mean, even though later you find out it's a fake gun, he has a gun pointed right at the security guard's face. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is like real.
Yeah. He doesn't.
It just got real.
He doesn't want to hurt anyone, but he just wants to be able to make them think that he is, just so he can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he has more confidence in himself than he should.
Yeah. So then, so I love that he sneaks in with a birthday party going on.
Yeah.
He takes the stuff.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. These people are trying to hook up. And while he's leaving, they see him, and they're just slowly following him out.
Like,
So you can tell this is not. They don't usually have people stealing their lasers.
Yeah.
In this in the area that they're in, and in the function that they're in, burglary is not a common thing for them at all. So they are completely caught off guard here. I mean, they've got a security guard, but he's there like he hasn't seen this actually before. Because if it were an actual high security place, it was a place that had issues in the past, then they would have been more alert. But in this way, I think it's. And that could be a thing of being in Washington in that area. Like, if it was someplace in Los Angeles, then he'd be, well, if it was anyone on LAPD, he'd be shot the first time they saw him before seeing the gun. But,
True.
Anyway.
So I love that scene because it's like, he's exiting and he's like, let's do this. And they're just slowly walking. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I thought that was hilarious.
But they see the car, they're going to follow up on this and find him. But they're not as concerned initially with chasing after him.
Yeah.
So that was to their benefit.
So, so she's the escape girl, and they transfer the lasers. So this is when he feels like the government employees everywhere, so they got to cool down for a bit. So they have more of a conversation as to why he's going into the past.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that he's pissed at his performance in the heist. He's like, that was a horrible performance. Oh, I should have done this. Like how serious he is. Like it's hilarious. But then we learn the exact reason of everything that happened, of why he's going back. Mm-hmm. So how she died, broke through the living room, and he really explains what a great person he is and why he had the connection. And what do you guys think about her choice? Where they're talking about the favorite songs and it being Over the Rainbow. Does that have to do with the journey that she's kind of wanting to have, or I don't know?
I think it's that thought of not being happy with the life that you're in, but having the hope that there is something out there.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, it's the looking for hope somewhere in the journey. So it's not the kind of thought of, and I wish I had a song in my mind, but looking at a more depressing song that could have, if you're looking at something.
What she wants in life is something that isn't common at all.
Yeah. So she's not just looking at the world saying the world is a terrible place and the people in it are bad people and there's no hope. But it's the summer over the rainbow. There's
something out there.
Yeah, there's something out there, and she's looking for that.
Great song though.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they the whole group goes down and they're gonna go look through Kenneth's stuff, and they see a glimpse of the time machine.
Yes.
And that's when they're like, dude, this guy's really building something.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's not
we know that
sure.
we know that it's serious, and whether or not it actually has any science behind it,
works.
he could just be collecting random science.
Yeah,
it could be even worse that it's a weapon. That it's
that he's Al Qaeda.
Yeah, he should be terrorist, and that's that's their concern.
He's the spy.
Yeah.
So and this is when we first see that he's maybe not that crazy, because we see he is being followed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right after that, they're like, "Oh,
which he should be for the things that he's been collecting and stuff." And that's a reasonable thing. That he could be a spy, as you were saying. He could be a terrorist, as that's the common thought in the land of time.
Stealing particles,
especially with someone who's got this. He's stealing particles, stealing lasers, and having a scientific mind. Mm-hmm. They're not. I don't think most people are looking into him. They don't think time travel with someone who's this smart and thinking and doing these actual things.
Yeah.
They're not thinking, oh, he's trying to build a time machine. Even if he is trying to build a time machine, maybe there could be a problem with what he does, and the combination that he does rather than traveling through time explodes and kills a bunch of people.
Yeah,
so he's rightfully so. He is being watched as he's fearing, and in his mind now, it can only be the people trying to stop him for his time travel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So then they have this scene where they're. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was kind of thinking of that too. That's the Back to the Future, the first one when he's. He's being chased down for the uranium, and what was the ethnicity of the people he was being chased by? Like he was saying.
Hold on.
I can't remember. I'm trying to remember now.
Let me guess. They were Chinese, right?
No.
Mexican?
No.
Middle Eastern?
It was something, but I can't. I was trying to remember the exact country.
It was some kind of Middle
I'm so upset I can't think of it, but because it was just the line of him yelling at that. Now, maybe that was there was some fan theory I read about that movie where it was he had hired those people to stage it and cause these things to happen. But that could have been, maybe that was another random thing that maybe Doc Brown was more paranoid in the stuff that he was doing the same way that he is. But it's that same kind of thing of he's got this person chasing after him. So another parallel to Back to the Future in that tying in there.
So then they're getting ready. They're getting ready to go at this point. And there's the really nice scene where Ken gives Darius money to give to that black dude, and you're like, that's it. Like he's
yeah.
That's
Like
how
when-
serious he
like
is.
that's how
he's
we-
doubling down on the fact.
well,
that he
people
can,
people say you can tell when somebody's actually going to commit suicide because at that point they're giving their stuff away.
Yes.
So he's ready to do this. It's sitting in his mind. He gave away, and that's a lot of money. A box full of hundreds like that.
No, that's
a lot of cash.
this is his life savings. This is because he doesn't. It's everything he doesn't need, and he's going back.
And
Well, that's the thing though. He's going back to 2001 though. Like I would think you want to bring some money or something. Maybe a jacket. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Maybe when in the place that he's going back to, he's got what he needs, so he doesn't need to take this back with him. And is
Libyans.
is a nice person. Thank you, Libyans.
What Middle Easterns?
But specifically, this is as
Good. I'm sitting down.
him shouting out, "It's the Libyans!" Anyway, yes,
Had to.
it needed to be known. So that this is showing him being a nice person as well.
Yeah.
I love the admiration you can see in her face.
Yeah, and
I think she recognizes, like, she doesn't actually. I don't think she actually looked, but I think
Yeah.
when she's interacting with the
And I like his
coworkers.
response too.
yeah.
It's just like, I hope he finds whatever he's looking for.
Yes.
He's like, he may be crazy or whatever, but he's a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Gotta always
he's
appreciate
looking at
those
it, and the thing
Yeah.
of the way that he's looking at it in his subconscious is that he's just trying to find happiness because he knows that he's got this big hole in his life, and he's hoping that gets filled. And also, I think his coworker has noticed his interaction with Darius as well. The last time, because she had talked to him the first time she came into the store, then she followed up the second time she was in the store, making that connection with him, and is seeing that, like, now that he's seen her for this third time and seeing that he's gone, that she's been able to connect with him. He's understanding that and saying, hopefully, in you, he's finding some happiness here as well. Yeah, he cares. He cares about him. They both. Coworkers care about each other. But yeah, he's serious.
Yeah. So then we throw in the scene where he's eating with Liz. That's Jeff. And I mean, they're actually having like an actual nice conversation. That's not about his Escalade and things like that. And they hook up on the picnic table, which I thought was cute. And it was kind of just that scene was kind of just splashed in there.
Yeah.
And then we jump back to Kenneth and his seriousness is, what is it, cryptography? He's talking about the code that they're going to be using, and he shows her the box, or the tin. He says, anything happens in the past, you put a note in this box.
Oh,
Yeah, because this is a box that you remember as a kid. It's a
Yeah.
It's always a fixed point, a fixed second time that's always there.
Yeah, he explains it's been there since he was a kid.
Yeah.
He used to bring his...
And no one knows about it.
What did he bring,
Yeah.
his Star Wars toys? Or?
Yeah, I think he said Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Yeah, yeah,
And they would throw him in the fire.
yeah.
Which shows just how he was, he's probably nerdy and social outcast back in that...
He's being picked on that
Yeah.
kind of time, and that's so. This is his safe place.
Yeah. So then we jump back to Liz and Jeff, and they've just had sex. And he asks her a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
Pick up your whole life and move with me. It's like, and to me, it's kind of like I really like her, and I'm back in that spot, but like I'm that important. Like
He doesn't see
am
the
that
life
good.
that she has there, and she's got a very solid life there. So
Yeah.
he's still
But his
selfish.
life is so much better.
He's still selfish. He's thinking about himself. He's just saying, he's broken down his barrier in his superficiality and is able to say, okay, she is a good person. I do like being with her. Cool. I think I'll collect this and add this to my life and bring this back to my life. I want you to come back to my life here. Instead of being a partnership and building a relationship with her more, he's still thinking about himself.
Yeah.
And of course, she says no.
Yeah.
And he just gets pissed off.
Yeah. And
This is what I get for opening up and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and she's not saying no to there being a relationship between them or continuing on.
Yeah.
She's just saying, like, no, seriously, I can't just leave. Like, can we just build this some more? But she doesn't even get to talk to kind of bargain with it to talk about, well, maybe there is something more, because
Yeah.
he then assumes that it's just...
Well, I mean, one of the things too is that she's had that happen to her in the past.
Yeah.
When she married the baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up, moved, and then he moved on.
Yeah. So
And she's going to be careful. You know, you don't want to
Yeah.
get burned twice.
But so he immediately takes that to think she just wants the fling with him, and now
Yeah.
he's on the other side where he's put so many women, and because that's how he knows that two-side thing of either he's just using them for a fling, and now he thinks she's using him for a fling. He only knows those two sides. He doesn't know the sides of having a relationship and working with someone else and compromising with someone else. So since that's the only thing he knows, immediately puts himself in that position.
Yeah. And then he goes right to, now I'm going to party.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Indian dude, we're going to have a crazy night. Are you ready for this?
Tell me you're ready.
So now that he's gone, he had the bottom moment when he was in the watching the game and drinking at the game. That was a part. So that made him be able to mature and be able to grow this way. But now that he's tried that, he's been hurt when he's put himself out there. It's the kind of thing with the ear with Kenneth, where he's put himself out there a bit, then is hurt, recoils back. And this is the thing that Jeff does. So he's put himself out there, is hurt, so then falls back beyond the low that he's gone to before, and is just
With
full-blown
some,
himself.
were they high school girls?
I don't know, but something just...
I think they're made to look like that for dang sure.
Yeah.
I like how it's like those two chicks and some emo or whatever he
Just
is.
some random guy.
Yeah.
With his black
They
lipstick.
are definitely under 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could easily could be high school girls. It doesn't really matter too much at that point.
Oh, it matters if they're under 18 to me.
No,
I'd
it
like
does.
to know.
But it's the thing of he doesn't care, and he's now he has all of the worst traits about himself. He is those things completely. He doesn't have any of the good parts of him in there, and he's gone completely to that.
So they're drinking, they're smoking, they go on the bumper cars.
Yeah.
And then you see him on the slick track with a cigarette and I think a beer, and he just starts crying.
Yeah, I don't know how they let him on.
I would love to see that though.
Smoke on those cars.
Maybe
That's-
Washington's different.
I don't know. It's still
liberal.
Yeah, we do live in California.
the but the gasoline on those.
Yeah, there's a
on those
lot of
cars
vapors.
there, like
that's
those.
true.
Yeah, those things. Like it smells so much of that gas. Like having a cigarette there on those race cars, like at speed zone.
Oh.
Yeah, like that type of go-kart that he was in. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. That is a safety thing.
Yeah.
You only get away with that in the movies. Man.
Yeah.
But it was, and that was also a parallel scene from Clerks 2. Gets hurt, goes
Yeah,
to
that's true.
goes to the race, the go-karts.
So then, we're at the campfire, which is just
Very
like,
defining moment
Uh-huh.
in the movie.
So and oh god, she did such a good job of just showing her being in love with this dude, but trying to keep back. Like her facial expressions to me were amazing. Just the way she moved, the way she sat, I thought was amazing. And then he pulls out I think it's zither. Is that what that was?
Yeah, zither.
And it's funny because he's like, it's halfway done, it's not good, blah blah. But he just starts tearing it up, and she is. I could tell she was wet. She was totally ready to go.
She's impressed.
That's one.
Because
that's
it's more.
one way of saying it, John.
It's more. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember it raining in the scene, but anyway, it was. She's found.
Being a little more PG.
She's found more to him because
A
before
lot more.
Before she's only she's connected with his quirkiness, with his weirdness.
But I mean,
and then sees some brilliance in him as well. But
yeah, besides the time travel thing, he's a really cool, interesting.
he is. But she's only been talking with him about the time travel stuff so far, and now this is showing more to him, showing more interesting things that aren't just connected to this moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely solidifies her bond to her.
So then she does a little move where she's cold, and he goes to warm her up, and they kiss.
Yeah.
Which I think it's weird because just because he talks about his ex-girlfriend so much.
Yes.
And he's obviously in love with her still.
Well, this is where I'm saying this is his subconscious coming out.
Uh-huh.
And he always had that underneath him, where he's understanding and looking for someone else that he can connect with. And through all the things that they've gone through together, now he has found that connection with her. So he's been able to open up, and so it is okay that he's making this relationship. But in the part of his mind that believes that he's going back to get his love, in that part of his mind, it's not okay. But in this moment, he's able to allow that to come through.
So we jump back to Jeff talking to the Indian dude. I'm just call him Indian dude from now on.
Arno.
And he's like, he can't understand. He's like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you want to hook up with this girl? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he just explains that, he's not the same as Jeff is. And I think Jeff's kind of annoyed by this. So I like how he pops his collar.
Puts on the ears.
Yeah. And then he's trying to turn him into a douchebag just like him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's great how a collar pop and some aviators really does it for him.
Yeah.
It really did it for him. Like, I was just like, wow.
So he gives him the little pep talk.
Just that easy.
And, he's trying to hook a brother up. So he's like, hey, come smoke a cigarette with me.
Yeah.
And then the girl's just like, no, let's take off the glasses. And they make out. And it was cute. It's very, very sexy. So next scene, this is when the boss calls back, and this is when we're kind of like, what's going on here? Because she says, oh, his girlfriend who died? No, she's alive. She's about an hour away.
Yeah.
So this is when Darius,
when she finds out.
yeah, she finds out, and you could see in her face, she's like, what the hell?
No, it's fine.
Her? No, she wasn't fine with it.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. He's like, no, it's fine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's okay.
So then Jeff is saying that he's gonna interview, and she's like, no, I'm gonna interview this girl. That's Kristen Bell.
Okay.
Oh, gorgeous, right? And you know what's funny? Everything that Kenneth was talking about is like exactly how she is too. Oh, so during the interview, we find out that it was Kenneth who drove his car into her new boyfriend's living room.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, and now for me, I'm kind of wondering, well, how's this going to end? Is he actually loony? And I was actually kind of hoping where it was like kind of a darker ending.
See, I think the chance for a darker ending was at that campfire, was that he needed to not be okay with it.
If that kiss he would have pushed her off, and then it could have went darker.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to make this one a dark ending film, and the way that they've built it up. Yeah, it is possible, but I think it would. Depending on how dark you go with it, there's so much there that it would be a very sharp turn from what they've done.
So she's done with the interview, and then we also find out that she wasn't really into him. He was in the friend zone major. Yeah. So I get the feeling that
she was kind of an idealized.
Yeah, and she even says that
so
they were never together.
More than just him making up what happened to her, he made up their relationship as well.
Yeah. And at this point, she's like, okay. And she's probably looking at herself as, why did I open myself up?
Yeah.
Because now I'm screwed. This guy is just BS. And then right when she walks out, the government agents are there, saying that they think he's a spy, and that he broke into a nuclear facility.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
stole a particle accelerator.
That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, like, why would they be so low key about getting him at this point? Like, wouldn't there have
I
been
think that's
more?
A little
another
more. Yeah, they do have a few more guys on the job.
Yeah. I think
that type of stuff.
And maybe they've been looking into him enough to think he's not as much of a threat, to not be as concerned with him, to still maybe they're even thinking that it's more formality that they're going after him because he's taking these things, but
Yeah.
maybe they're not a threat, and maybe they don't see the connections to any other organizations.
Well, I kind of let it go. I suspended my disbelief for the sake of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of have to at that point. Yeah, you look into it too much.
So she's obviously upset. She runs to Ken's house. I don't know how the door pops open, but she walks in and she starts really looking around, and she sees just all these plans everywhere and little parts and
Diagrams
pieces.
and
Yeah. And this is when she's upset, and I just love. I mean, just her eyes are so. She starts watering up, and she did such a good job. And she tells him about Belinda, how she interviewed her, and I love his response.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like,
Good. That it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Obviously. All right.
Yeah,
You succeeded.
Which goes against my earlier thought of him thinking that there could be the possibility of the alternate timeline, because he's
true.
saying, "Oh no, it works." So this is more the Bill and Ted's logic of it, which is the, "Oh no, we need this item. All right, let's make sure that we go back in time and put this item there. Okay, now I have this item."
Yeah.
So it's the thing of, okay, she's alive. That means it works. All right, let's keep going and make sure we actually go back in time and save her to make sure that happens. But now we can be confident that it's going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she, and then she also tells him about the government agents and how they're saying that he's a spy and this and that. And then she's kind of filled with anger and just yells at him that you cannot try time travel. And she's just bullshitting. So then the whole crew shows up and says, "Oh, the agents are in the back," and he just takes off. And that's when they go into the garage.
Yeah, and Kenneth gets pissed at Darius for
He's
You're with Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he's trying to say, "Oh, was it bullshit from the beginning?" And she says, "No, my feelings were true."
Yeah. Classic line.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
It's one of those things. I was in in my first writing class at UCLA. It was an exercise where we had to write a line for "I love you." That is, write a better line than that, or that says the same thing. And we came up with all these different poetic ways of doing this. There's all these things you can try to do to believe that, but it's still a tough thing. Where like that phrase, it gets across that emotion in that way so concisely, and that's the thing. In these, when you see these cliches happen, it's because they work. It's because it's such a real thing, and it's those real emotions. So at some point, you're like, "Oh, I see this so many times." Where like, "Oh, is it even real because you were doing this from the beginning?" And like, "Oh, it started out as this thing, and then it's turned into something real." And that's a classic thing where these people, they're brought into these circumstances for one reason, but it ends up being real. So, it's a cliche thing, sure, but that's the thing. That's how it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. So then
She instantly goes for the box.
No, hold on.
Right?
No,
At this moment?
no. First, they go to the garage.
And
where the
and they
time
look
machine
around.
was.
Yeah, which they saw that there was something in there before.
Yes.
And
So the time machine's gone, but then they see all the schematics, more pieces, and it's really showing to me. It was like, okay, so he is either super crazy or super genius. It's one of the two. The whole time I was kind of building like even more crazy or more genius.
Yeah, because when we first know him, it's that
Kind of the same thing.
subtle line there where it's, it's either he's lying or he's serious, but he doesn't have I was just talking about time traveling. But the more we find out, it starts splitting. Those things get wider apart, where it's either that he's insane or he really knows what he's doing here and looking at the science. Because there could be that. Even though it's a loop, he gets the crazy part. There's crazy genius can be the same thing. It can be both of them because he does have the crazy and the genius in there because he's made up this reality. But the thought of, is there actual science behind it that he's been studying, researching, and finding these things, and that's where it's getting on more on that point. Either he's putting all these random things together. or it's pudding.
Yeah, it could look like Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory
Yeah.
at the end, or
Like,
it could be really awesome.
It could be this weird random thing of a lot of things combined that doesn't do anything. Or just explodes or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he could have actually been looking into the science behind these things. And so those are the options we have now.
Yeah, so she runs off, she looks in the box,
Yeah.
she looks and she's like, oh, there's nothing in there.
She's believing that.
Yeah,
And- And then
that's a dangerous point for her too. Like before, she's trying to tell like I want to connect with you. I like this relationship we're having, but it's not working. And yeah, when it's gone, when she sees all those two acting, she believes it. She's gotten to know him, so
Yeah.
she's like it must have worked. It must be real. Go to the box. There's nothing there. And then we go to find where he is, the launch site.
Yeah, and she that happens to be right.
Yeah.
Of course, where the
Yeah.
time machine is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're at the launch site they talked about. And he goes at it, and he goes to turn on the machine. And at this point, that's where they're looking at it, they're like, let's do this.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this time machine. Let's actually see this thing happen. And they're watching in that same kind of way of, is it gonna blow up? Is it gonna, let's see this, because it's gonna go one of two ways. Well, let's see how this happens.
And again, suspending disbelief with the agents.
Yeah.
I really had to.
I'm like waiting for them to pull out.
I think
When she was walking across, I'm like, okay, one of them's just about to be shot in the head.
Again, they remind me more of like of a local cop more than more than federal agents.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the Seattle satellite office of the federal agents who don't see a lot of this crazy action, and they're also intrigued with this. They're like,
Plus, I mean, if it is
going?
a bomb, I guess you might want to stay away from it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they might have still shot him if they thought that, like, if it was
shoot him in the head.
Yeah, if it was a federal agent thing, and they think that this is an actual threat,
Yeah.
then they would shoot him. In most time travel movies, you experience time travel in them at some point. So this one is a dramatic comedy where we're learning about these people, and it's a movie about these people that has the discussion of time travel and the theory of time travel, and they're thinking about time travel. But we're not going to see them time travel because now the movie's almost over. So of course the time machine's not going to work because it's just this crazy guy. Except
I was like, that's where I thought it was going into, he's crazy and kind of a darker ending. But no, you see this thing start to expand, the bubble thing, and you're like, oh, where's it going to go? Or is this like, I don't know what's going on.
So that's a pretty crazy ending for them to actually have the time machine.
Well, especially because I didn't really know much about going into this except the little ad and that it was based on a true story.
Yes.
So I didn't really know what it was based on except.
Well, it was based on a true ad.
No, but I didn't know it was just the ad.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's like kind of based on a true story.
Yeah,
so
because
like,
it easily could be in there. So it could just end at that point, and that's. Yeah, so that's kind of unexpected in the way that they.
Yeah, for me it was unexpected.
They built that up, and you don't expect the time travel to actually work in this kind of movie.
It's based on a true story of Colin Trevorrow going back in time.
Yes. to
direct a movie.
Yep.
So
it's a documentary.
So your favorite scene apparently or whatever when he puts his hand up.
No, that was the funniest. That was the funniest scene.
Yeah.
Because they've
I was dying. I was just dying. I don't know why. Just so funny.
Which just shows he's still kind of like douchey. I think.
Yeah.
Like
Nah, I don't know. He is like connected to their.
But it's still in a douchey way. Like he had nothing to do with it, and he was just like, like the Olympics.
I think part of it he thinks that that's a joke, and he's kind of, or that the guy's just crazy.
Oh yeah, that's what
and
he
he was
from the
mocking
beginning.
him. Yeah, he was mocking him from the beginning, and he's not interested in other people. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he's affirming in them. He's seeing that first of all, he's seeing that that Darius and Kenneth had found that connection, and he's seeing the connection that the strong connection that they can have that he wants to have with someone else.
No, I understand
And-
that, but
and-
that's true.
But also
that action is kind of.
I don't know. That's
his stance.
to me. That's the thing of right on. You guys go. I see what you guys are doing there.
It is that, but it's in like the douchebag. It's like
Yeah, but that's who he is.
It's a sincere douchebaggery.
Yeah, but that's who he is.
No, it's
that's
who he
a part of him that's not a thing that would change.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the best way if he has expressing himself. But it's a good it's a good way of expressing it.
I mean, it was still positive. It was still all
Yeah.
that. Like, obviously, he was like being supportive.
Yeah,
in
in
this
his
whole
own
situation.
way, yeah.
But it was in his own way.
So at this
That
point,
way made me laugh.
credits roll and they're showing the videos that they had put together.
Oh, stupid Netflix! Like minimizing the screen. I kind of wanted to.
Oh, really? Yeah. But at that point when I know that they went back in time, I kind of did that Fight Club thing where you start thinking back and you're like, oh, okay, this made sense. Now this made sense, and you start going back to everything that happened, and it really does, fit the way he was acting, the things he did, and everything that he eventually time traveled. So I like when movies at the end you start like at the end of Wild Things. I don't know if-
It's been so long since I've seen that film.
Oh, okay. But that's always good.
Yeah.
I saw it when I was young, and
And masturbated. We all did. She's odd.
So the film cost $750,000, made $4 million.
Yeah,
So
made
good on
$4
them.
million, man. That's a good return.
Yeah.
what would you guys rate this film?
So
What would you guys rate it?
I gave this film 4 stars. I wasn't maybe I was thinking it'd be a little bit more comical. I thought it was going to be and not as dark, even though I like dark comedies. But I guess overall, just 4 stars.
I was just checking to see what I rated it, and I guess I didn't, but it said 4 stars for me, and I think I'd give it about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4. That's what I did. 4.
Yeah.
I actually was sat down and I was trying to figure out what would have given it, what would have pushed it beyond. And I think for me, and this is just a personal preference type thing, and it's person to person. I just think the humor didn't hit me as much as I know it hit you. At this point, and that really hindered the exposition, the beginning, and the introduction of it all. Like for me, that was slow.
Oh, really? I was
It was only, and I know in my heart that it was only because the humor didn't hit me. That I was just like, okay, and I was just kind of going along with it. And like at the beginning, I was just like, this doesn't seem like a film I'd like or want to watch. And then, thank God, I mean, it was cool that I had to watch the whole thing because I did really like it.
I find that in a lot of films. In seeing a lot of comedies too. I appreciate when any film that goes for comedy also works on a dramatic level, because then you can ignore the jokes that don't hit you and just go with that. There's so many comedies that are so that don't have that drama behind them, and even with the most whatever comedy you're going for. You've got to have a story that backs it up, because if those jokes don't hit, you've got nothing else to offer.
Yeah, and then also speaking of the exposition in the beginning, the hooking me in, like it didn't like instantly grab me. What instantly grabbed me was that the characters were so well defined, and I knew exactly who they were immediately. Like that would grab me, but the story of a journalist, a girl like trying to find a job. And I don't know, like that didn't instantly grab me. Yeah, and I felt that was.
I mean, like you were saying, for me, it was the characters right away.
Yeah,
and that was their introduction into the world. The main story was about that relationship and the time travel ad. But it was kind of set up in a way that it could have, we could have gone this way because maybe the guy is just writing it as a joke. So if it is writing it as a joke, then we don't have as much there. And we need to know more about her and her story. So it kind of sets it up in those different ways where maybe we could go on about this and continue on that story. But yeah, it doesn't follow up as much with what it sets up in the beginning part. With her,
like the story kind of dynamically changes once they get Ocean View. Once they get to Ocean View, like that's when like the story really kind of takes. It's so different before then. And I think, I don't know. Not really, I think there just could have been a better hook
Yeah.
Better.
Fair enough.
Yes.
That would have won me over to the pushing me to the 5.
Pushing 5.
Yeah.
Yes. Cool.
All right.
Yes. So next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Is you.
Well, it would normally be me picking, but so our first episode we had a guest on. This time
And then we haven't had a guest on.
we haven't had a guest since. Because well, the first guest we had, it was bringing someone in that could bring another viewpoint to the film, to the topics we discuss, and a lot of the movies.
Yeah, it was really relevant to have her.
Yeah. We
awesome.
haven't had.
Thank you.
Someone that we see in the film that gets that extra element. A lot of these films have been different type of narrative that don't really have that clear thing of this person would really help us get an insight into that type.
Yeah,
of
there
thing.
wasn't a very specific person.
We could have got an overweight autistic New Yorker.
Yeah. Like,
Or
Or crazy Korean.
or an anorexic, machine worker.
yeah, I was looking for
I don't
an
think we were
anorexic
looking
machine
hard
worker.
enough, yeah.
I almost got a hotel worker for 4 rooms, so someone who's been a bellhop. I was thinking about that. But for this one, there are people, surprising, there are actually people who watch and listen to this.
What?
Yeah. And aside from that, there are people who might intend to watch and listen to this, but still like the idea of it, and throw out suggestions of movies that we do. Mm-hmm. And when I hear the suggestions of movies, when we bring a movie, except for this one, like you were still interested in seeing this movie and thinking about it. But a lot of these that we've been bringing in, it's something that we know this is a movie that's affected us, that we've thought about, and that we want to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
So when someone suggests a movie for us to do, it doesn't have that personal connection with us. We haven't seen this to talk about it. So what my thought is we can have guests come in and bring a movie that they want to talk about. So they're interested. So that's what we're going to try out next week.
Okay.
So our guest is going to be a Swedish man who you know. And
I know this Swedish man.
yes, you know the Swedish man. Yes, he's a Swedish chef.
Cook.
Oh my God!
Huh?
He asked if he was a baker. He was at one time.
Yes, he was.
He was indeed a baker.
Swedish.
At
He
one
totally
time.
was. Yes, he is a Swedish chef. Wort.
Yeah, he was so proud. He loved that because he was able to do that like more legitimately at the time.
Make sure, we'll put him in that. Anyway,
Sure, he loved
I'm going to
that.
ask you both: are you fans of the Monty Python?
No.
No.
Nope.
Awesome. This is going to be fun for you.
Oh,
Are
wow.
Depends on the film.
Overrated. All of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dig into
you?
these.
This is gonna be great.
Yeah, this will be great. I love. Like,
Now-
it was great last week having someone that just hated the film.
Yes, and it'll be you.
And it'll be you again,
Yeah.
Tony.
You've
Hating on the films.
but you've seen the Monty Python films?
Not all of them. But
Okay.
I've seen a good.
I was forced, yes.
Now this is one that's interesting because I think, and I started watching this. I watched the first half of it, and just to confirm that this is going to be a good movie for us to discuss. And I think it definitely works whether or not you are a Monty Python fan. Now, definitely, you are going to like it more if you're a Monty Python fan.
Okay.
But don't think about it just as Monty Python. This is not a Monty Python film.
Okay.
Okay.
This
But
is not a book. This is not a cigar.
It's
Not a pipe.
It is. It's tough to describe this. It is kind of It is a film about Graham Chapman,
Okay.
who is one of Monty Python, one of the people in it.
The popular one, right? The curly hair guy?
Not Eric Idle.
Oh, yeah.
Not Eric Idle, not John Cleese, not the American. So Graham Chapman, he's an interesting person in there. It is a film about him, and it's done in a very interesting way. And the title kind of tells part of that. Now there are two movies with similar titles on Instant Watch. It's a movie from 2012. It's going to be on Instant Watch until 2017. There are two films on there. One of them is a 45-minute film, and this one that we are going to be discussing is about an hour and a half. Make sure that you get the correct title on this, and that it is an hour and a half long, and not the 45-minute version.
1.5 hours.
Yes. It is called A Liar's Autobiography.
A liar's autobiography.
Yes.
All one word. No, I'm just kidding.
All one word. Oh, that's not a word.
Is there a photo we can, like the photo of what they show on Netflix that maybe we can give tell our audience?
Now I will say what it looks like on there. The top part says A Liar's Autobiography. Autobiography is the biggest word. There is a man's face that is facing upward with a pipe sticking out of his mouth, a smoking pipe sticking out of his mouth, and some sort of airplane-like
It's very
thing
reminiscent of
that is so
of Beatles.
Yeah, it's kind of a Yellow Submarine
it's
looking.
kind
it's
of
Monty
Yellow-
Python-ish, though, totally.
Yeah, but it's got that British thing animation.
Look, is that a penis?
The spaceship airplane does resemble
a
a phallus.
I mean, there's sperm chasing it. It's
Well,
the other
yes,
way
there
around.
are.
They're spaceships.
Oh,
you dirty
There could
person.
be. I'll tell you from what I've seen of the film that you will learn more about that ship in the film.
But yeah, so
Now-
make sure to find the silhouetted man with the cigar.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that the
I thought it was a submarine.
yeah, the description. I think the description is a good description of the movie that doesn't give it away of anything. Well, because of the way the movie's about, any more than the title gives away less than the title, I think. But I'll say it is animated. This animated, unconventional biopic tells the extraordinary and utterly inaccurate story behind late comedian and Monty Python member Graham Chapman. So think about that as you're watching this too. It's called A Liar's Autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and
Well, it's that great thing. It's like you get to tell your story however the hell you want.
yeah, and that'll so we'll definitely if you can't find other things you like in the film, at least you can we'll discuss the idea of A Liar's Autobiography and the ideas behind that. But it's only it's a pretty short film. It's only an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Who was it directed by? Was it directed by?
No, it was not directed by any of the Pythons.
There you go. At least there's that.
Yeah,
Tony.
it's not directed by any of the Pythons. It has voices of the Pythons in it, and
I recognize those names.
yeah, it's got all the Pythons in there. But it's not a Monty Python movie. It's not directed by the Pythons. But it does.
It happens to be about them.
It happens to be.
Okay.
It does have that kind of sensibility. But if you do like Monty Python, then
It makes it even better.
I think you'll enjoy it. But yeah, at least think about the idea of that.
Okay.
So we'll be back next week. To
Folks
talk about that.
still listening to us on the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe some other stuff. We'll see. Another time. See you later.
Yeah.
Thank you. And good night.
Subscribe
Good
and
luck.
everything.